So let's just show you some of these Visconti. So as I mentioned before, this is the Visconti Opera Master Blue Swirl, and some of these have been inked up. I've cleaned them out, although there's still a little bit of inky water residue that you'll find in some of these pens. The reason for it is that these are power vac fillers, and power vac fillers are very difficult to clean. You actually get water. So you have the O-ring just here when it's locked down, but you actually, when you put it back, you actually get ink and water stuck behind that O-ring, and it's always very difficult to actually get it cleaned out of the barrel. So that's one of the downsides of having a power vac filler with a transparent or translucent barrel. But in terms of sheer ink capacity, like these will hold easily. Well, I think the Homo Sapiens holds. I think I filled one up before and it held just under, smidgen under 2.5 milliliters of ink, and these are slightly larger. So I think these are probably bordering on 2.5 to 3 milliliters, maybe even more. Maybe I should actually try that one day and fill it up and then empty it and see how many milliliters an Opera Master holds. The only thing I do know is it holds a lot of ink, and it takes a long time for me to literally write through all of that ink. But so here you can see like the blue swirls. They're a little bit more like blobs, I would say, than actual swirls. But I do like this one. I like it because it's like translucent and not transparent. And when you have, like, the previous ink I've had in this pen is the Pilot Iroshizuku Momiji, and that works really well. It looks lovely in this pen. As you can see, some remnants there. And then these all my Opera Masters have a 23 cap palladium nib on. This is a medium nib. Majority of my Opera Masters, I would say, do have or did have medium nibs. Now you can also see here you actually have the double reservoir power filler as well, which is something Visconti are known for. That basically allows you to shut off the ink chamber for when flying, so that you don't have a leaky pen when taking off and landing. So that's the blue swirl, and that's one that I do like a lot. There were some limited edition number one ranges of these. This is the non-limited edition number range, so it doesn't have a number stamped on it. And then you have, and this is a really odd named Visconti. This is called the Opera Master Clear Demo or Clear Demonstrator. It clearly isn't clear, and I'll show you here because you'll see here it's got lovely blue and green swirls, very remnant of the Visconti Homo Sapiens crystal that came before the London Fog. So you can see that this pen's been inked up, and as I said, like, it's very difficult to try and get rid of some of the water or the inky water out of a power vac filler, no matter how long you leave it for. You can even literally I'll show you. You can pull the power vac back, and then you can literally take the nib out and cotton swab the whole barrel. But as soon as you push this piston back down again, there you go, you see it creates a whole load more water drops. So you can never actually clean properly behind the piston itself. So that is always a problem with these power vacs, unfortunately. But as you can see here, like, this is a lovely swirl. And I ink this with varying inks. Like, you can see some of the ink just pooling around here and the edges of the O-ring here on the piston. There you go. Just have to be careful that nothing shoots out of the pen. And again, this is a medium nib that I've got on, number 6 size. And these are all palladium nibs. Some are single tone, some are dual tone nibs. So that's the Opera Master Clear Demo. I always think it's a rather strange name. Um, it's a demonstrator, but it is kind of clear, but it has swirls on it. I really think it should have been called the Crystal Demonstrator, but for some reason Visconti named it a clear demonstrator. Then you have this other one which I really love, and this and the London Fog, the Homo Sapiens London Fog, really is what started me down the Visconti route more. And this one I've just cleaned out, and you'll see that there's some reminiscences of the ink I had in there was Diamine Wild Strawberry, and but the swirls on this pen is lovely. I picked this up second hand. It's a lovely pen. I do like it a lot. It actually came with a 1.3mm stub, which I absolutely adore, and I really do like the stubs. And to be honest, like prior to that, I hadn't had a Visconti stub. And I liked it so much that I decided that I'd start buying some newer pens with stubs in, but I would also try and buy some replacement nibs as well to swap in with some of my existing pens. But you can see that the lovely swirls there, that the ribbon swirls of the Crimson Tide. Now this was I believe a North American exclusive. Certainly Goulet pens had a number of these in different coloured trims. Then there was the Asia version, and in Asia they called this the Red Swirl instead of the Crimson Tide. Not entirely sure why the name changed, but Visconti tend to do this a lot between Europe, America, and Asia, like the Visconti Homo Sapiens Caput Mundi in Europe, or in Rome in Italy, was in the US named the Red Wine. I guess a fitting name to it, but I'm not too sure why they decided to change the names. Maybe it's more retailer exclusives and the retailers want to name them differently, but you can see that swirl is so lovely. So I do like the Crimson Tide. That I actually hunted for about a year before I could find one that was actually being sold, because they're pretty much all sold out, or at least any of the ones with a decent swirl pattern on them are sold out. So there are still a few available in Asia, but they really didn't have any good patterns on them. And then there's this one which also is I picked up used, and this is I picked up this year in 2018. This is the Visconti Opera Master Golden Dust, and again this is another stunning material. It is very much like a smoky, cloudy material, almost like a smoke-filled room. And I'll see if I can try and show that off to you here on camera. But you'll also notice the gold dust in the pen, and that's the remnants of its name, the Golden Dust. But you can see how smoky this pen really is. And that's again a lovely pattern that I love in this pen. It's just spectacular. So and again, this one is inked at the moment, but this has a 23 carat palladium nib, but it's a fine nib. So I might actually swap that out eventually and put a maybe a broad or double broad nib on it. I'm not sure. Maybe even a stub. I do tend to like the stubs more lately. So, but you can just about see sort of parts here of the threads through the barrel cap there. So, but it's a lovely pen as well. So, again, this is another one that I do like, and it's a more recent acquisition to my collection. And then zoom out a little bit more. So that was the Golden Dust. Also have the River Thames, and this comes in 4 different trims. Now this comes from Chatterley Luxury, and this one So this is the yellow gold trim, and so it comes in, if I get this right, sunrise, which is yellow gold, midday is the silver or palladium type trim. You then have sunset, which is rose gold, and then you have midnight, which is the ruthenium black color. And this is, as I mentioned, the sunrise version of it. And again, this is a lovely pen, and it actually basically the material here in the whole body, the swirls, it's grey and blue swirls. And you may have noticed this from another pen in the past. Basically, the Visconti London Fog has basically the same, almost the same material. And it's said that basically the River Thames is supposed to be made by the same material that is in the London Fog, and I personally I wouldn't doubt it. It's actually really nice. Again, with most of these pens, especially Visconti's, but also other pens, you'll find that no two pens are alike. The swirls, the patterns will be different on every single pen. If you want to have a really good pattern, then it's best to talk to the retailer. If it's a good retailer, they will normally be happy to take some photos of half a dozen of the pens and let you sort of pick the pattern that you want. I know Bryant at Chatterley Luxuries will do that. I know that other retailers may not honour that request because it is, or it can be quite sort of time consuming for them. And especially if it doesn't have the nib that you want, then they have to change the nib. Not all retailers will change the nib, but this so normally I do not request a pattern. I just whatever gets sent to me, and I don't know. I think most of the time, or 99% of the time, I'm pretty lucky when I get the pens, and I kind of also want it to be a surprise as well. Like, sure, I'd like a pen with a lot of swirls or look really attractive, but at the end of the day, it's it kind of a surprise is actually nice as well. And this one, I did actually order from Bryant at Chatterley Luxuries with a 1.3 stub. And this one's fully inked at the moment. And you can see here as well the double reservoir window is full of ink. So that one I will be writing with a little bit later. And then that brings us on to the Visconti Opera Master Luna, and this is a Goulet Pens exclusive from Brian and Rachel Goulet, and this is spectacular. And I've done a review on this one before. Like, it's made from the same material that the Visconti Daedalus is made from, which is I think 3 or 4 times the price of this Opera Master Luna, but it's so sparkly. It's a lovely dark blue material. This one's inked up, so you'll see the body is a little bit more darker there because it has ink inside it. But you'll see that the sparkles on the pen, it's very, very sparkly. But it's done very well, and it's also, you can see the material's translucent, so you can see the section and the nib or the feed there. But it is a lovely material, and even though it costs 3 times less than the Daedalus has a silver overlay to it, and I really actually prefer this more than the Daedalus. I think seeing a lot more of these sparkles really do make it a lovely pen, and you can just see how the light reflects off. And obviously, like, all of these Opera Masters are faceted as well, so again that helps reflect the light off the pen, and especially with the sparkles inside it as well. So again, this is another lovely pen, and again, I bought this one from Brian and Rachel Goulet. This has again a 23 carat palladium. It's a single tone nib, but I bought this in a stub nib as well. So it's a lovely, lovely nib. And that's inked up as well. And then I know a lot of people will say, well, aren't the Opera Masters too large? Well, yes and no. I'll show you here. So this is a Visconti Homo Sapiens, which is actually classed as an oversized pen, but it's not massively oversized, and it's not that much larger. It's about a centimetre longer. It certainly is more weighty, and I'll show you that. I'll get a weight comparison. And we can show you if I... Now, what I'll do, I'll actually show you the weight between an inked up pen and an uninked pen. So, an uninked Opera Master, we're looking at almost 60.5 grams uninked, and then inked 63.3 grams. So it's only sort of 3.5 grams more, so I guess 3.5 milliliters, around about that. So uncapped, you'll find it's 40 grams, or just under 41 grams, versus inked 43.5 grams. And then the caps obviously are going to remain roughly the same. So that's like 19.67 grams, 19.90 grams. So you may get a bit of variation depending on the material that is actually used. So in terms of writing, when a pen's fully inked up, you're looking at around about, without the cap, because most people are not going to post this pen, around 43 grams. Now take that with a Visconti Homo Sapiens London Fog, for instance. I can stop that from rolling. That's 23 grams. So just under 23 grams versus 43. So you're looking at another 20 grams, or almost double the weight. And that's mostly because of the metal parts on the Opera Master. So that's just something to bear in mind. So it is actually quite a weighty pen, the Opera Master. But does it really impact me? It doesn't, like, it may impact in terms of writing long term, but like if I'm trying to write 2 or 3 letters on A4 paper, then quite possibly it will sort of give me more hand fatigue than an Opera Master. But like if I can show you the difference in terms of, like, these are sort of with the pen uncapped, you'll see how long they are, and this is in the hand here with an Opera Master versus a London Fog. So London Fog is definitely going to be smaller for sure. It has the same size nib, but London Fog is definitely lighter, and if I want to have a longer writing session, then I'll probably go for the London Fog, or I'll start out, a lot of time what I will do, because it takes time for fountain pen ink to dry, I'll write a page of A4, and I'll either then go and make a cup of tea, or I'll start a second letter off with a different pen, and just give my hand a little bit of a rest. Maybe a lighter pen like the Homo Sapiens. But for me, I really do like the size of these pens, the weight of the pens. But I also understand that the size and weight isn't for everybody. So it really depends on your personal taste and preference at the end of the day. So there you have it. That's the Visconti Opera Masters, with a comparison there with the Visconti Homo Sapiens London Fog. Please like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.